All right, so today's workshop is first in the process of formally adopting the city's budget. The numbers that were provided to you from Tammy include the numbers that were presented or submitted online to the DLGF. These are largely the numbers that the department heads turned in as their original numbers. So these, for today's purposes and this budgeting process purposes, are the highest numbers that the budget could possibly be. So I'm here to tell you, just as in practice with the city, the actual presented budget and approved budget will be less than the numbers you see here today. So I want to provide a little bit of update on progress to date, and then open the floor to questions and conversation about the city's budget as we work toward that first presentation in our next meeting. So to start, we have met from an insurance perspective with Doug Heath as the city's health insurance. He was able to provide us with a breakdown of not only who is on the city's insurance, but at what level they subscribe to. So if they've got a family or a single, we got that actually from both the city and utility, which is going to help us to better estimate what the city's cost will be and forecast a little bit. I think probably get a little more fine-tuned than maybe normal, and some of this is going to be because of the restrictions on revenues as we head forward. So that was good information provided by Doug Heath and his team. Additionally, we met with our general liability insurance provider, that's Walker Hughes Insurance. We are estimating a 12% increase in general liability for next year. It's better than previous years. We've actually had a reduction in our claims as a city for general liability. So that was a pretty good positive, welcome positive feedback from the insurance provider. And as we're told, according to other clients that they've gotten, municipalities across the state, probably one of their smallest increases that they've seen. As we work toward these department budgets, I will say some street, park, and cemetery are largely in a position to be presented. However, still working with golf, police department, and fire department are probably the large ones remaining. As I work with PD's leadership, I've given them the task of creating a budget of $1.5 million, and then fire department working on a budget goal of $1.65 million. So those would be actually budget reductions even compared to this year, but certainly compared to what they submitted originally for 2026. Some other creative things that we're looking at, again, is we've talked about conceptually the reduction in revenues the city's forecasted to experience as a result of SEA 1. Some kudos here to some creative thinking, some by Tammy, some by Micah Boris at the golf course, is making a final payment on ladder 10. Ladder 10's final payment comes due next year. So we're exploring an opportunity. We have some reserve funds and debt service that were required through USDA to get the loan for the apparatus. And so there's actually enough reserve funds in that specific fund for that loan that we can make that payment early and actually eliminate that as a general fund obligation for next year. So kudos to Tammy on finding that and finding the successful answers for us to do that. Also exploring on the SRO vehicle, its lease payment is due next year. I believe the first few years of that vehicle were provided to us by Academy Dodge Jeep, and we were set to make the final payment in the final year. That's for next year. So we're actually going to pursue making that lease payment this year using unrestricted opioid settlement funds as a qualifying use of those funds, but then also reducing our 2026 obligations for the general fund. And then the last one that we're exploring relates to the ordinance that you were handed by Tammy just moments ago concerning the Golf Capital Improvement Fund. So this, as we're looking historically, matches the original language of the ordinance is to utilize those funds to help pay the lease payments for the golf carts that were required at the golf course. So again, reducing the general fund obligation through mechanisms that already exist in the city of Tipton. So I think that brings largely up to speed, and I can help if you have questions that I have answers to at this time, be happy to answer those. Otherwise, talking through some thoughts, priorities, or other concerns that you all might have related to the budget.
I'll start with, usually the biggest discussions tends to be around staffing first. Are there any, besides I saw Dylan, which I fully support, going from a bunch of part-time wages and adding a full-time? I think is a good idea if we can pull it off. Are there any other major staffing changes?
Not from PD or FD. I would say from a fire department perspective, we still continue to have challenges with paramedics. So we're exploring and looking at how do we better incentivize firefighter paramedics.
Yeah.
We've got 3 of them on staff. The dollars just don't make sense today. That they don't get paid anything close. They don't get paid the same wage as a civilian paramedic. So we're trying to figure out what that difference is and see if we can get that to be fundable through the budget. Park is not increasing staff, or golf course. Cemetery is not. I think the only other, what we've discussed through Tammy's office, is enabling someone within her staff to become more focused on HR practices citywide. It's more of a need from an organization perspective, certainly, but then helping to pursue possibly digitizing or modernizing the payroll process to help make sure that is efficient and effective and reduces Tammy's workload, certainly, for the city, and then possibly like a special projects manager in the city of Tipton. Again, all those right now are conceptual. None of the additions or increases right now are fundable through the city's budget. So we're continuing to work on that.
So no major change right now,
Nope.
except for possibly a full-time addition to street in exchange for a
Correct.
reduction in that
Correct.
part-time wage line.
We will have a retirement. Debbie Frazier, I believe, is set to retire next July, I believe. That's the only retirement I'm aware of at this time.
And then I noticed different percentages for raises.
Correct. All that's based on what the department had submitted. So the city's.
Well, that'll change.
Correct. Right now, what the city is looking at is based on the federal cost of living adjustment is between 2.5% and 3%. So I'm using 2.5% as part of my formula on the spreadsheet, and that's sort of what I'm operating with to see, can we get a funded budget based on 2.5%, which would fall in line with the federal government's cost of living adjustment.
Okay, that makes sense.
What did the police or fire ask 4%?
8 and
I
3.
don't actually know
8
that.
and 5, I think.
Is it?
I remember it was somewhere around there. I couldn't remember for sure.
Cemetery and park asked for 3. Street, I didn't see a percent, but 3. Yeah, so fire was 5 for the firefighters and police were 8.
That sounds right. Yeah. I knew that would be the highest too.
Yeah, outside of the staffing, I mean, if we're not changing much, then, and I mean, COLA is probably all we can do, cost of living adjustment wise.
Correct.
Or raises or whatever. The county's called me 3 times asking what we're gonna do, mostly just gym purpose, but, and I said probably cost of living with the budget the way it is.
So we tried to follow even, I think last year. I think last year's increase was closer to 5%. I think that followed the COLA.
Yeah,
Formula.
inflation was
Yeah,
a little higher.
Correct.
We did pretty substantial raises under Dozel. Well, and I think it was my first and second year. We did like 10% for police, just trying to catch them up with average. So I think they're in a better spot now. And I think Tim and I actually met with Chief Bittner a while ago about something the council and mayor already knew about, but I can't remember what it was. You remember what we went to? The uniform.
Uniforms.
And we asked him why there weren't more firefighters becoming paramedics and what would be easier, making paramedics firefighters or firefighters paramedics. And I can't remember his answer, but the incentive must just not be there for firefighters to become paramedics. What is it, $5,000?
Yeah, it wasn't
Yeah,
very
$5,000.
much, yeah.
Certification.
So, but that was pitched to us, if you remember.
Yeah.
The firefighters, we didn't get it the first 2 years, the ALS off the ground. The third year we did, but they were like, this could lead to better wages for us because we could become paramedic certified. But it seemed like not a lot of them have. So we got to figure out.
That would be a better place to start on your wage increase, to get more of them to go to paramedic that way.
Well, we asked Chief Bittner what could he do? Could he take all the paramedics that we employ, combine whatever that wage is, and allocate it? What would that be? Of course, he wanted a 1-to-1, and my idea was more of for every dollar you gave a paramedic, could we give 60 cents to a firefighter? And that would probably be more than $5,000. But it wouldn't be a 1-for-1, and we'd still save a little money on in other ways by having the firefighters be the paramedics.
And I know this wouldn't really be a raise for anyone, but to kind of ease the pain of not having enough paramedics, if we had firefighters that were, if not just their shift, but a different shift than they're on as a firefighter, use them as paramedics and pay overtime
Yeah,
would help.
I don't know. Are paramedics getting a lot of overtime?
No, I mean, they do.
Yeah, because they're
Because-
civilian.
Yeah.
So 40 hours, so you accrue, whereas the firefighters,
They get, they're based off of 80 hours, the civilian paramedics are. And they're on the same 24-hour shift. So every payroll, they're in overtime.
overtime.
Well, I know that the wages for the fire department are going to come in way over, according to what Joe's telling the board of works. So the council is going to be asked soon, I think, to move some money for the fire department.
Well,
So-
so this is something that
Go
we
ahead.
just found out, I found out Friday. But, so I called the USDA to see if we could use that fire truck reserve money for the payment. And she told me that I could take that and I could pay off the loan, which would then mean that I wouldn't have used the 2025 budgeted money, and we wouldn't have to use 2026 at all. So there's 39,771 in 26, and in 2025, there's 39,771 that we wouldn't need. So I was telling Keegan, I said, let's maybe go ahead and move that money up to the wages, so we don't maybe not have to do an additional appropriation.
Yeah. Go ahead, Joe.
Are the civilians contractor or the employees?
Employees.
Yeah, they get benefits too.
Yep.
And plus, then you got payroll tax and
And there's only 3 full-time medics. The rest are part-time medics.
There's 3 full-time civilian,
Medics.
Paramedics, yeah.
and then you got the part-time, but
which I think we struggle recruiting across the board, full and part-time.
Mhm.
But I'm still not sure, based on Nikki's comments, if we are able to fully understand the cost to run ALS for the city. I don't know if we're doing it in a way that's feasible. As much as we want to, we might not be able to. I don't know. I don't know the numbers.
How long is our contract with the county?
3 years,
And it's already this is the second
year
year.
or two.
So we may have to next year ask them to pony up.
Yeah, I know there's debate on the county side of should the townships be contributing. I've been told by a county commissioner that that's the township's responsibility in other counties. I've been told by a retired paramedic that's not true. I don't know. I really don't care.
Yeah.
The bottom line is if we can't understand the cost and then run it efficiently, then we shouldn't do it. It can't cost the city money to run this thing.
Right.
We're already strapped. And as much as I want to keep, then the question is, I think we still don't know, but what does it cost to run ALS on a yearly basis? And I know we, coming in on the second full year, we should start to understand that. We're buying stuff that, yeah, we're realizing the cost this year, but maybe it's a 3 or 4 year piece of equipment or products and services. So I just don't know.
I remember she mentioned some of the things that would extend out and that cost will start dropping down when she made her presentation.
It should, but this is a question we need to know sooner rather than later. And even if it's ballpark this year, by the budget time next year, we have to know, because that'll be time to enter into a contract again.
It's gonna be difficult for the townships to pony up, if that's the right term, when they are already paying through the county.
They pay the county for,
Well, the county is paying for the service, right?
correct.
And they're all paying county taxes. Now, if they get hammered again, then they're gonna get to pay twice unless the county's gonna back off, and that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting question. I think the town, I still think we don't pay a township fire tax because we pay
No,
the
they
city,
pay their-
but we still have township taxes as city residents that I think go towards the poor and cemetery maintenance.
Sure.
And that's a question I have for that. I still don't understand then. I think we're just duplicating services across the county to everyone's detriment, including fire. But if we just start with ALS, if the county wants us to provide service across the county, I don't care who pays, whether it's township or county, but we may not be charging enough. I don't know. I think we charged 100, or Seals got 100,000. And then I think our contract was like 185 or something like that.
I thought Seals got more than 100.
Yeah, I was thinking that we mirrored what Seal was
Yeah,
charging.
that's what I was
Tammy,
thinking.
didn't we raise? I think we had to raise it. I think the county, paid 100,000 to Seals to service the county. I'm almost certain. And then they got to keep, obviously,
No, the men.
any money they made. But I think we had to raise it to like 180 something
Right.
to make it feasible. And I don't even know if that's enough. I think we are the only option though. After that, it's going to get exponentially more expensive.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not going to pretend to understand our relationship with IU or how any of that works.
Mhm.
I just know if we can't do it efficiently, then we shouldn't do it.
Historically, IU has expressed an unwillingness to do paramedic runs out of the hospital. I think that some of that goes back to staffing too, but I would agree that I think Tipton Fire Department is the only solution at the moment that's not astronomically more expensive.
Well, it was explained to me that again, this is all way over my head. I can understand profit and loss, but not the billing and stuff. That Seals used to be able to do ALS runs for IU, and they would do 10 to 20 of those a month and made way more money than what we do now. And I don't understand if that relationship fell apart or if something happened. But when you think about it, year to date, we've done 179,000 in revenue. That seems really low.
Yeah.
How much, you break that down on a per run basis? On a bad month, slow month, we do 90 times 10,
Mhm.
90 times, let's just say 720 runs. That's ridiculously low. And of the 179, 79 of it, roughly, or 80, is unrealized, meaning we haven't gotten paid.
Correct.
It's in collections.
Correct.
Anyways,
Well, I think it goes back to why I invited Nikki this last meeting. I wanted to make sure that we are staying on top of the paramedic service because it does. For other cities across the state, they would brag that that's an opportunity for them to not only create a revenue center for the city, but it allows them a mechanism to pay for the new equipment or upgrades to
ambulances.
vehicles and even facilities. Is that relates to paramedic service. But then that also gets us into the golf course where it's had a similar challenge to it, that the days of the city being allowed the opportunity to provide a subsidy may not be here much longer with SEA 1. So trying to challenge the golf course to create a business model that at least breaks even. If we can break even, then I think our opportunity to continue that amenity is still alive and well. But
Yeah, it's
the
just,
golf course has never had that challenge before.
it's a hard mentality to ingrain in government employees, right? It's a business for-profit mentality that, I mean, we used to hear, well, ambulance break even. Remember, Rick, during those meetings, we'll break even. Well, it's like breaking even still not good because you don't have money now for capital improvements, buying future equipment. So you don't think like a for-profit, then it's still subsidized to some degree, just less.
It's like the ambulance. How long is it gonna be before we have to replace that?
Well, good news
Running
is
as many
I think
miles
that's
it's running
new.
now.
But yeah,
Yeah, Medic 81 is older in years.
Yes.
and-
Well, and running the whole county, it's running a lot more miles
Yeah, correct.
than before.
How many part-time hours will you have in 25?
Very few, if I can pull a full-time position.
You know, in 25?
Oh, in 25, I don't know that number off the top of my head. I had 4 part-time students over the summer, and then I had a part-time girl for most of the year. I haven't physically looked at
But you'll have, I assume you'll have more than 2,000,
Uh,
which would be the equivalent of a full-time employee.
They couldn't work over 1,560 hours.
each though.
Each,
Each that I just
Right.
told.
I would say so, yes. Between the 5 part-time people I had this year, yes.
What's part-time rate?
I set that, I think it was. I don't remember.
The max is 1843, but I don't think he was there. I
It
think he
wasn't,
was
I
like
think it was like 14
15
or 16.
Yeah. A full-time currently,
2601,
and they have to have a CDL.
correct, and they have to have CDL.
Do we train them for CDLs?
No, they have to come in with it,
it.
yes. And I do have multiple candidates that have CDLs, that have submitted applications to me that, are good. I mean, one is straight from the city of Kokomo, that has a CDL that works for the street department. So there are experienced people that do want to come. It's just having the spot.
Yeah, because I've heard that the utilities actually pay employees to get their CDL,
That is.
and then once in a while they lose them because of that.
Absolutely. So I had that issue at the state. So the state works the same way. They hire anybody and everybody. They pay to get their CDL, and they have nothing in place to keep them there.
Yeah.
So once they get their CDL, they leave, go work for a dump truck company, and make twice as much. I wouldn't want to go that route. They would need to come in with a CDL.
How many part-time positions are we gonna lose to make a full-time?
I technically have only one part-time position, but I hire, summer help.
Summer help.
I only had 4 summer help kids this year. Really,
with another full-time, would the summer help go down then?
that they would, yeah. So I've talked to a few of you already about part-time. They're part-time, especially high school kids. I know they're coming to have a job for the summer and make some money, but as use-wise, they can't do much. I mean, they can't drive the trucks, they can't help out a whole lot besides yard waste or painting curbs or, and I wouldn't say I want to get rid of that completely, but I definitely, having 4 or 5 part-time is not. I think, a good, good use of my funds.
Well, it costs money to train people, onboard them, offboard them. How many are close to retirement? How many do you think would retire in the next 2 years? 2 to 5 years?
In the next 2 years,
There's got to be one.
maybe one.
How about
In
the
the
next
next 5 years, 2.
on so close to on the verge of retirement?
Yeah.
Like it's another reason to have a full time too.
We do also know from a street perspective, while police and fire, we still have a lot of ground between what we pay in Hamilton County and Fishers, Noblesville. What we've learned is our street department wages are actually really competitive. In fact, I think we've got a more attractive pay schedule than Kokomo. So I think that would help in the event that we had a position open up to finding good talent.
And if you look at turnover at the street department, it's none. I mean,
It's good
the
to have the
guys that I
family.
have been there for years. So I'm not worried about losing anybody. It's needing the extra hand. It's either needing the extra hand or acquiring the equipment to do it with the people I have.
Yeah.
And at this point in time, acquiring the equipment needed to do the job efficiently isn't in the budget. It's just not.
So
That's
one full-time is more important than 3 part-time,
Correct.
basically.
correct.
The only part that I will put out there
Insurance.
is just the benefits. It's not just their wages, it's the benefits too.
Oh, yeah.
You mean on the full time?
Yeah.
You say it's
Insurance,
20,
stuff like
your,
that.
your wage is 26,
2601, yeah.
so you know the loader grade's gonna be $40.
When you figure in, workman's comp and insurance and all their benefit package, Tammy knows that more than I do, but yeah, you're probably looking at that.
3 part-time, you're
Well,
probably 35 to
40.
$40 total with 3 part-time.
Yeah, because you're not having to pay
Right.
insurance, and
Okay.
you still have workman's comp and that stuff. But
We're paying $286 an hour in per.
Yep.
And so, 7.5 in social security.
I think the spreadsheet from Doug Keith calculates the city's family health insurance plan is about $20,000 annual benefit.
Forgot that one.
don't get me wrong, I mean, the work's gonna get done with what I have. It just takes longer.
So the other way gets done more efficiently and faster.
Push came to shove, could you get rid of all your part-time wages over full-time? If you took
Yes.
full-time and you said, all right, we said, no, you have no part-time.
Yes.
You're part-time and not your summer help.
My summer help is part-time.
Oh.
I hate to get rid of summer help, just because that gets next generations ready for the workforce. But if push came to shove and that's what I had to do, honestly, a full-time position is more useful than any part-time position.
There used to be all kinds of summer help where they could get hired to do that. I don't know if it's still that way today or not, but
I don't know either.
because you could just about get a job anywhere in the summertime because they knew it was summertime and he was gonna go away and
The summer help that I had this year did a very good job. I mean, they showed up, they didn't complain, they did the work that was asked of them. But again, like I said, there's downsides to having high school kids. I mean, they can't drive, they've got to have more breaks, there's certain limitations that the state puts on them that does make it difficult.
We spent a half hour on my question, so I'll let anybody else ask a question.
I would just, if you guys want, if you want me to run through these just so you know what they're referring to or whatever, we can do that. If not, I mean, I kind of touched base with you when you picked up your packet, but.
I forgot that and I left the office.
I blew by it.
Being honest.
So the Form 3 is what was put in Gateway, and that's the advertised budget, which is all basically high numbers.
This one.
And then your Form 4B, that it breaks down your 18th month budget, so the last half of the year and all of 2026. And I believe you all have each fund.
This is the Form 3 that you referred to.
The
Yes.
first one, yeah.
All right. You see the first line, Casino River Boat. I assume that's what you assume, or I assume that that's what you assume the state revenue will be to us.
Correct. The city has,
50,000.
or the state has released those estimated revenues.
The 50,000, is that what you said?
Yeah.
50,000 is how much we are estimating our budget to be for 2026.
Our budget to be our revenue.
No, our expense.
So okay, then the rainy day then is 160.
Yes,
You
but
anticipate spending 160 out of the rainy day?
that's what's budgeted. It doesn't mean that we'll spend it, but that's what we have in the budget.
These are the highest possible numbers
Yes.
we could spend, Joe. So it means
These are
you,
all budget estimate expense numbers
Yes.
in column 2.
and they're
Yes.
way over, they're the highest you could possibly spend. Because if we advertise too low, we can't spend more than that.
Okay.
So you may spend $0 out of some of these, but unless you advertise for the highest amount, you can't spend you can't spend over that
Unless you
amount.
go and do an additional appropriation.
Correct.
Later.
So that's why Tammy always, it's common practice, right?
Yeah.
The game says that too. That's why we're advertising that we may spend $10 million out of the general, but there's no way in hell we will ever spend that because we don't have that much. That's like the highest possible we could.
So basically, the mayor has been working with his department heads to decrease that $10,072,692 number under the general fund. The other budgets that are there, they're pretty much in balance. There's gonna be some resolution reductions that I will be presenting to you. But I wanted to estimate high, so that's why the number's in there. Some of them will stay the same because they're balanced. And then the general fund, we're also looking at cutting possibly some 2025 expenses. So let's say I have something in my professional service line and I want to cut 5,000. So I will do a reduction resolution to cut 5,000 out of that. And then you would get a resolution at the next meeting to reduce that. And that way it's not there to spend. So it's gone. Once I do a reduction resolution and you approve it, I take it out of the budget, so they cannot spend it.
But the budget reduction resolution is excess funds from the 25 budget that was not spent, or you don't anticipate it being spent.
Correct.
Then you know what my next question's going to be.
Why don't we reduce it from the 26 to?
No, well, of course I would. But I'm just telling you what I'd get completely away from this 18-month budget. No one has told me yet what the advantage is. I just find so many advantages of here's your budget. And if you've got a problem at the end of the year, then you ask for an additional appropriation. That way the council and the public gets gets to authorize it. Whereas the other way, it's, for the lack of a better term, at the end of the year, there's just a slush fund out there.
The disadvantages on my end is you have to advertise and get the advertisement in the paper and everything, and then, so it takes, I'm gonna say, a month to do an additional appropriation.
Right.
And some expenses need to happen, like if something would come up, some expenses happen that need to be done immediately, and so you don't have the funding there to pay for that.
Well, then my argument with that would be that your department heads are not aware of their budget at that point in the year, and their problem becomes your emergency. See what I mean? Obviously, this 18-month budget is a thing that's been done in city government. It took it forever.
I think it's a state statute, the 18-month budget.
State statute.
I mean, I think that's,
Oh, I don't think there's a legality problem. I just think it puts more burden on a department head to do a better job and be conscious of his own budget.
I do think there's merit to what Joe's saying. I think we experienced that some, and I'm not trying to throw a department under the bus, but there was a department head that would put 100 grand, let's say, in part-time wages, would spend 10 to 20 of it, and then ask for 100 grand again. Well, that doesn't make any sense, right? And we would try to push the department heads that if you didn't need that in 25, let's say, why would you need it in 26? Give us a reason. Sometimes they'd say, I don't have one, so then they would make the reduction then. But it does lead to, you really don't know what it costs to run the department, because you're inflating the numbers 20 to 30%, and then you're saying, well, I've got that extra money. That only exists on paper. It doesn't really exist, right?
It's just become a culture.
Yeah, it's tough to correct that. I do think Keegan's.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at Dylan's budget; it's pretty tight. So I think we're trying to fix that.
Yeah, I don't think that, so going back to what Tammy had mentioned on myself working with department heads. So you see here the advertised general fund is 10 million and some change. I mean, unofficial budget right now, still working through some departments to make some assumptions, but we're at almost 8.6 million. So we've been pretty aggressive with cutting. And to get to a 12-month balanced budget, I mean, we're still $500,000 away from that. And we've been really aggressive. Street department's down 8.5%, parks down 19%, cemeteries down 19%. We're challenging PD and FD to be come in with budget reductions. They won't be as aggressive, mostly because both of their budgets are really heavy in personnel. But nonetheless, just given SEA 1, our revenues are declining. So we've got to see reductions, and a lot of it's coming from, if we routinely ask for these cuts and you show practice of cutting these same line items, then the money's just not going to be there moving forward. We can't fund that anymore.
Is unsafe building fund, is that normally what is that normally?
Say that again.
The unsafe building fund, is it normally that low? I just know in the
Yes, because
BOW
we're only
meetings you guys
getting
are-
a certain amount from a building permit.
Okay.
It has to be over like $200, and we get $50 into the unsafe building out of it.
Now, is that what you guys get the money for, to tear down homes whenever you're having the problems
We
and stuff?
try, but, so, like I said, that's only 10,000.
That's why I ask,
Some of it's
is it
for-
always that low?
Some of it's for, they have to, title companies, some of it's
Oh,
title
search.
company
Right.
work.
Sure.
And so I think we have 9,000 for actual demolition. But I think this year in 2016 budget, I think we took it out, the demolition out of there and put it into rainy day. Where that way if.
So you
it's
can
there,
get
if
more
it would need it,
appropriated.
But if
Okay.
not, then
I just knew as much Nate and the mayor and the BOW has been trying to clean up town and doing a lot of work to better Tipton. I just didn't know if you had more money to put in there if it
Planning
needed.
department also historically has demolition and safekeeping.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
this year they had 20,000 in it. Last year, I think they had 20,000. So
Okay.
those monies out of planning, I think, get spent first, right? And then
Okay.
when the 10,000 is
I
required.
just knew you guys been doing a lot of work. That's why I was asking. If it's normally that low.
Well, we had good news today in DOW where the property owner
They did it
took
all.
care of it.
Yeah.
And
I drove
Netherton
past.
took care of his property.
Yeah, I drove past. It's been seeded in grass. There's straw down, and we didn't have to spend a dime. That's one of the first times I think that's happened.
That's why I was asking when I seen it was that low. I
Very
thought,
nice.
because you guys are doing good work. That's why I was asking.
Are you able to comment? Is that, how do I say this? Department going to change at all in 26?
Correct. That's what we're working toward currently is the city of Tipton standing up the planning department. So we actually had a meeting with HWC has started this process with us and they continue to help facilitate that. So it started with an assessment of what is, and what it uncovered was some challenges. While I don't believe that our ordinance today, our building standards are drafted in a way to be unfriendly to development, but it definitely gives that impression. The ambiguity within the building standards and timelines, schedules. So that's focus number one, working on a unified development ordinance to help simplify that citywide, clean up and maybe even modernize building standards and ordinances. So we had a really good first meeting kickoff with HWC and the steering committee with that, and we'll actually receive a draft of that unified development ordinance next month. And that'll be accompanied with some videos that explain the changes and updates, and you're working toward a January 1 kickoff of that department. Long term, the focus is not only getting the department to operate more friendly to future investment, but then also with the fee schedules that if we can start building homes in the city of Tipton, there's a possibility once you hit a certain threshold, the department becomes self-sufficient. That is actually generated enough in fee schedules that it can fund its personnel and staffing.
And it's already been budgeted into this budget. to
We're
get that
right now
started.
carrying over previous budget. So I had a previous budget of 160,000. So we're continuing with that number as the department's budget. Now it'll be a little different because we only have one staff member to start with
Right.
some contract work to help as we fully work into what that department looks like.
Okay.
A lot of assumptions still there as we finish out the work with HWC.
Is there anything you guys wanted to highlight in the council's budget?
Cut wages to zero.
That's
They're
fine.
out there.
Pay us what we're worth. That's good.
Amen.
So we ain't changing much.
Yeah.
Not that I can recall right away. I think now that we have some information from Doug Heath, like I said, fine tuning what that number for insurance looks like. One thing that I think is of note as we head into the future, I don't think this is necessarily true for next year, but I think as we head into 27, 28, 29, our ability as a council to fund some of the local nonprofits is really going to get called into question just from a budget funding perspective. So I think the sooner we can figure out those realities, work with these local nonprofits to find creative solutions to that. Again, with SEA 1 coming, next year's revenue loss is 140, it grows to 400, then the year after that, 630 the year after that. There's really tough decisions ahead of us. Next year's budget is the easy one. if you can believe it.
Rainy day fund, what's your normal, that you try to make sure every year you have in rainy day?
I think every year we do $100,000 transfer into rainy day from general fund.
Okay.
I think that's been the traditional practice.
I knew it was somewhere, I couldn't remember exactly.
That's the max, isn't it? Isn't it?
No,
I don't
it's-
think so.
No, I think it's a percentage of your general fund
Yeah.
budget, I think.
Yeah,
Okay.
they told us that.
Can I ask,
5%? I can't remember.
we've had conversations, road preservation, is that in there? Has that been?
The answer is sort of yes and no. Since we're not going to apply for CCNG,
Yeah.
what we'll likely do is then reallocate some funding within NBH
I don't remember.
to allow for that to happen.
No, that's fine.
The thing we want to be that I want to be mindful of is while we can apply for CCNG next year, still allowing, so I don't want to make some long-term commitment that would prevent us from CCNG in the future. So I think road preservation is a good use for 26.
Now, is the Bull Diamond funds in here somewhere?
Pardon?
The Bull Diamond funds?
They would be in bond two.
1, 2.
Because that's a bond, so it's an annual payment of 150,000.
Okay.
So the annual payment of 150 is documented in that.
I see it.
But yes, the 2 million in interest still exists within that
Okay.
fund.
Is there any chance we could put a little more money in paper? Get these numbers a little bigger.
I said the same thing.
Yeah.
I came prepared, lights and everything.
And I know it makes people feel good, but this writing on the back is not one of my favorites.
That was a font size requested by Harper I. So if you can't read that, then you should schedule an
Keegan,
appointment.
we're the only ones not wearing glasses. You mean
Keegan's just trying to save trees now, that's what it
Everybody's
is.
in for their own gig.
Pick it up.
Well, I don't have to wear glasses. I
Look
only
at
wear
that
them when I
penny
want to
for
see
fashion
something.
statement?
Yeah, no, I want to see something.
Oh, okay.
I still can see.
Rob said 6.5 font was perfectly sufficient for.
I went and got mine fixed, but it's not that big.
Local road and street.
You didn't pay the extra, so you could see the letters and numbers.
Well, I don't have to write it.
2.5
Read the
million.
newspaper. This is ridiculous.
With the-
I should use that a decent amount, but I know there's not that.
Tammy was
No, a lot less
explaining in
zeros.
the office the other day, and I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
never mind.
I'm used to it.
I gotta
Now,
have my
motor
sheet.
vehicle highway, is that part of the same thing as the local road and street?
Well, it's a different budget in itself.
Different sources to MBH LRS come from slightly different funds.
Okay.
But those are all managed.
There is discussion, and Keegan made me aware of this. In the future, the state may allow councils to actually raise local tax on wheel
Wheel
tax.
tax.
I bet they'll go even further and probably allow us to exercise a local excise tax on vehicles.
Mhm.
Maybe, who knows, we can raise that gas tax to be one of the highest in the nation because we're pretty high as a state when it comes to state tax. Not high in gas, but high in just the state that we, the portion of that that's a state tax. So I think it's the pattern is they're just going to keep deferring this down to the local level as much as possible.
So they look good and we look bad?
Exactly.
There was some discussion in the legislature this year to require communities to have a wheel tax before they could apply for CCNG. That I don't think that passed across the board, but I do think the larger communities are required to have a wheel tax. So we already see there's a growing list of municipalities now who have wheel taxes.
So they have no
Passed.
choice to do it. They look bad and the other guy that makes them do it
I
looks
would agree.
good.
Well, it would be nice if it came with a commensurate, equal, or greater cut from the state. So great. If the state
Correct.
said, we'll give away 10 cents and you can raise up to 9, that'd be awesome because we get the funds
Still on that
faster.
list.
We'd have to go through some bureaucrat
Right.
crap. But they're going to keep their 10 cents and tell us we can raise an extra whatever.
And the state board of accounts did say on the wheel tax that, they're not aware of any authority that would prohibit adopting a municipal motor vehicle excise and wheel tax for the city, even though you receive a wheel tax from the county.
We could do an additional one.
Yes, and
Yes,
they
exactly.
said that, we can contact the BMV to see basically how,
We could do that.
Revenue estimate.
how the revenue.
So right now, the county gets it, the city doesn't.
No, the county has the BMV sends the will tax to the county and the county distributes to the municipalities, towns.
Okay, so they do give us a breakdown some of it.
If we adopted our own wheel tax, we would get a distribution directly from the
To
BMV.
us.
And
Yeah.
then we travel through the county.
What's the payout on this building?
It's on here.
115,
Yeah, but I meant in years.
I think next year's the final payment,
Next year is?
I believe so.
City Hall note payment
Well, this is 200,000, but.
has nothing for next year.
So then
Yep,
this
So
year's,
this year was it.
this year's the final payment.
That's a good thing.
Animal
Irrigation
services, is that the
system was
same?
Paid off this year.
Pool,
The pool, yeah, was paid off.
City building should
The
be
fire
paid off,
truck
it needs
would be
remodeled.
paid off.
The one, can you landfill and composting, that's, I know some of that goes to solid waste, but what was that for again?
That's for.
Landfill and that's to pay for trash.
Trash
and
and
recycling.
whatever.
The bills that I.
Accrue taking trash and
Taking
recycling
trash and recycling.
and bulk trash.
Along with, composting out of solid waste.
Yeah.
any final questions before we?
What's the plan after this? Come directly to you both if we have questions, and then are we gonna have another one, or the next one is the first hearing?
I think the plan would be to have another workshop before our next previously scheduled meeting. In between now and then, what I'm working on is confirming department budgets. What I've done is challenge the department heads to have a little more ownership rather than this being a construct of the mayors, that they have some more ownership in the creation of their budget.
Excellent.
So I'm working toward is confirming those department budgets with them so that they know what they are and support them in the creation of a larger budget. So my hope is to have those communicated to you all before that work session.
So then that work session should be closer, if not the final budget submission for consideration.
There's still, I think, by statute, there's an opportunity for change between first reading and second reading. But our plan is to get it to be the final version before first reading.
Okay.
That would be ideal.
I mean, there shouldn't be huge changes from what was submitted here, so.
And I'll give credit to department heads so far that, they've responded to that request. PD and FD are the ones largely outstanding. I'm meeting with both chiefs and assistant chiefs from those departments, and then Dylan has been great about getting back on budgets. Diana has been great about budgets, and then golf course is another one that's fine tuning that compared to some of their expectations.
I mean, before we close, was this part of what you wanted to discuss during the budget
That's what he mentioned
earlier? Okay.
about the
Capital improvement.
the capital for the golf course. Because it looks like we're gonna have to amend.
There's language in 2011 that made it specific to the irrigation system.
Yeah.
So with that final payment coming, just change that language from 2011. So the funds are now available for, I'm not sure why they made it so specific to that improvement, but we'll revert back to that previous.
If that's how they bonded it or paid for it. I don't
It
know.
could have been a requirement by the
The bank or
financing.
whoever. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I think your street department got 3,000 for the whole year.